life comes down to love and regret. And my only regret was I did not explore being an artist. I don't understand. She says, you're not an artist. She says, because you can't draw. It just, my heart filled up with so much love. Like, Ali, I can't even describe it,
Wow.
That's all I want is to inspire as many people as I can while I'm here on Earth School.
Well, hello there. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ali Manning and my channel is Vintage Page Designs, and I am beyond thrilled to bring you an amazing person. Sandee Bartsch from Prince George, British Columbia, Canada, is here today to share her creative journey with you. And I have to tell you, I've chatted with Sandee before, and it is, let's just say you're going to be inspired, and you may want to have a little box of Kleenex handy. Sandee is a self-described late bloomer, and she is a mixed media artist and storyteller, and it is my very great pleasure to welcome her to my channel. Hello, Sandee. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Good. Now, I butchered your last name. Can you tell me how I pronounce it?
It's Bartsch. It's like March, but Bartsch. But it's common. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know, but I like to get people's names right. So, let's talk about your journey, because you describe yourself as a late bloomer.
Mm-hmm.
What does I'm guessing that means that you didn't grow up as a creative child, teenager, young adult. Like, tell me a little bit about that journey, the early part, and then.
Sure. Yes, I grew up on a ranch, and with horses and things like that. And I never really got that opportunity growing up, and I never really saw myself, nor my family seen myself as an artist. I played the guitar, but that was about it. But so it was about 14 years ago, maybe 13 years ago or so.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of crafts and, creative stuff like that, and rubber stamps and things like that. But then I saw a lot about art journaling.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
And I followed the artists, that did art journaling in Somerset Studio, and I watched YouTube videos, and I'm just like, I'd like to do that, but I can't do that, and I just went down the rabbit hole, like trying to learn everything I could about it. But I just still didn't have that confidence, to step out and do something like that.
Yeah.
So I guess it was about, it was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And what had happened was I was out of town at my daughter's house, and I found a lump underneath here. It was just right here.
Yeah.
And when I felt it, I just felt like this fear, like this total fear in my gut, normally you just think, I wonder what that is. I should go to the doctor. But this intuitive feeling that I had straight fear over this, right? So I went to go visit my mom, and I went, Mom, look at this. I don't know what this is. What do you think it is? And back then they used to have these books that on their bookshelf, and they would look it all up for the Canadian Health Guide or whatever. And then she looked at, it's a swollen lymph gland. She said, you just have to go on antibiotics and you'll be fine. And I was, okay. And then I went back home, and I went to the doctor, and yes, the doctor said the same thing. It's a swollen lymph gland, and he put me on medication, and then more medication, and then me and my lump went back again, and he put me on stronger medication. And then he said, you know what, I'm going to send you to the ear, nose, throat specialist.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And here in Canada, even though we have good health care, we have to have a big waiting list there's only one ear, nose, throat specialist in where I live.
Yeah.
And so it was a 3-month wait. And so I waited 3 months, and finally I got in. And my best friend that lives across the street, Catherine, came with me because I knew, I've heard of this doctor, and he's, big and Russian, and she's traveled the world, and she understands because he doesn't have a clear English accent.
Yeah.
She understands accents better than me. So I just asked her to come to, be my support and help me out. So she did. So then I go to this doctor, and he puts a a scope down my nose and my throat. And my friend was like, "Oh, this is really fascinating," because she got to see it all on the screen. Wow, that's real. This is your voice box. I'm like, okay, this is really interesting.
Yeah, no.
So he finishes the exam and we're sitting down, and he did have an accent because I didn't quite understand him. And he said, "Oh, you're fine." He asked me a few questions, and I was a runner, and I drank the green drinks, and
Yeah, you're healthy.
I never smoked, all this stuff. And so after the test and everything goes, "Oh, you're fine." But my girlfriend said, why does she have a lump under her, her ear?" And he said it in an accent, so I didn't quite understand him, but he said, when you get older, your blood vessels start to sag or something. And I said to my girlfriend, Catherine, I said, "What?" And she goes, "Oh, he says your blood vessels sag when you get older." And then she just looked him straight in the eye and she goes, "That doesn't make any sense." And I grew up like doctors were like, "Oh, God, you just revere them." I would have said, "Thank you." And I just would have walked out. Right. But not her. She stood her ground and she didn't believe this for a moment. And so it goes, "Fine, I'll give you a CT scan, but I guarantee you 110% I'm right." So it kind of made me nervous that I got into a CT scan within 3 days because there's a wait here in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm triaged up, and then I go. And then it really made me nervous when I got a call from the specialist saying to come in straight away. This was like the next day. "Come in straight away and bring someone with you."
That is not a phone call you want to get. Bring someone with you.
So my husband came, and I was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma, which is throat cancer. So it's a head and neck cancer.
Wow.
And so he set everything up for me to go to this. We didn't have radiation here where I live, so I had to go 500 miles south.
500 miles?
Yes, and live there for 4 months. And luckily, my husband's brother lived, in the Vancouver area.
Yeah.
So he set it all up that I was going to go to Vancouver, British Columbia Hospital.
Yeah.
And so, and this is where I was going to tell you about these weird coincidences, right? So I was then I had to do a bunch of pre-tests. So I was going to go for an MRI where you're literally in a, a contraption.
And a tube.
Claustrophobia.
Yeah.
And so my husband came with me. But it was like I received, I call them my download now, my downloads, where I get a flash of vision and then I hear a message. And I know it's kind of like intuition, but maybe a little bit different.
Yeah.
And so I said to my husband, I said, "Oh," I got a piece of paper and I wrote out the instructions. And the instructions was, I wrote down, and this is basically what I wrote to my family doctor who I love. And I said, "Dear doctor, I know that I'm all set up to go to Vancouver, but I really want to go to Surrey Memorial Hospital." And I said, "I can't explain this other than it's divine information." And so I said to my husband, "Go and give him this note." So I literally wrote this note, and my husband went tearing down and he gave the doctor this handwritten note, and I went through the MRI and everything like that.
Yeah.
And so when I went in to go see my doctor, he said he had set me up and I never asked him why. I don't know whether it's because he's a Christian and he believes that, we hear messages or I wish I would have asked him, but he said, "It's really weird." He said, "Your oncologist," she was a colleague of mine. And it's Dr. Wong, and this was the Surrey Hospital, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, "Oh, that's really cool." And so he knew her. Not only was she an oncologist, she was a professor as well.
Yeah.
and an oncologist. And so then when I told the other doctor, the ear and throat specialist, he told me this, Allie. He said, if you go to Surrey, he says, you will certainly die. You're going to die, he said.
What?
Yeah, if you don't go to where I told you to go, you're going to die. He literally told me that. But I had to listen to this, this message I got. And so Dave, my husband, and I went down to Surrey.
Yeah.
And I was getting my orientation, and my girlfriend was with me, and we went, what's that on the wall? What's there? What? It looked like a big plaque of some kind. She goes, I don't know. Let's go check it out. So we did.
Yeah.
So do you know what it said, Allie?
What?
It said, Surrey Memorial is the highest outcome rate for throat cancer patients in Canada.
Wow. And you didn't Google it or anything. I'm not even sure Google was around then.
It wasn't online. It was just there in the hospital on the wall.
You just got this message that you should go there.
Yeah, to this other hospital, and I was told I was going to die if I didn't go to this. If I went to this hospital, but I still listened, and I went. Wow. I got a great oncologist that was also a professor, who's really upscaled. And so I went through my treatment, which all throat cancer people go through the same. It's 35 rounds of radiation and 3 rounds of chemo.
Oh,
and so the chemo's in the beginning, the middle, and the end. And so the chemo that I got was the oldest, strongest chemo that you can possibly get. And it's called cisplatin.
Yeah.
And it's nicknamed the mother load.
Good grief.
So yeah, if you survive the chemo is what was the big deal. And it was really weird when you're gonna get your first, you have to be in the hospital to get it and everything. And the nurse comes in like in a spacesuit. Like literally in a spacesuit with a bag of liquid.
That's scary. Yeah.
And her shoes and everything on, right? Yeah. It's gonna be poison in me.
Yikes. Oh my gosh.
But by the time I was finally brought to treatment, I was in really late stage.
Really? It was
like 3B or 3C. So 4 is terminal, right?
Yeah.
And so they couldn't guarantee that I would be cured, right? Yeah. So we went through all the treatment. And I am always been this person who has like a big philosopher about life, such as what's our purpose? Why are we here? Why are we born? That kind of thing. And I was a seeker, seriously a seeker. Like I want to know these big answers, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, when I was on my cancer bed, life got really simple. And it really, the answers, the big question I was asking, for 20 years was very simple. And it's just, when you're facing your immortality, it's love and regret.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, does my family know that I love them? Did my husband know? Did I have forgiving love in my heart? And it was just like, check.
Yeah.
And then the second one was regret. And I only had one.
Oh.
And I was upset. Like, no, I was like, seriously. And I was mad at my I went through this. I said to myself, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to do the creative thing.
Wow.
And so, yes.
I mean, lucky you though, kudos to you, and that you felt like, your relationships were taken care of. You felt like at peace in that part of your life, but you have that one regret that you'd never inhabited your role as an artist or your life as an artist.
Yes. And it didn't help when I did my first art journal. Before this happened, I did one little one, and my mother's looked at it. She's trying to understand me, and she goes, I don't understand. She says, you're not an artist. She says, because you can't draw.
Oh, good grief.
So there's and I was in the lumber industry for 25 years, shipping and invoicing lumber. Let's say this, I was in the wrong career for 25 years.
Yeah. But you believe, we believe it when people tell us things like that, And
but when there's a whisper, a creative whisper, like, follow art, and you're like, oh, I don't know how, that there's
I can't draw, I don't know how.
Right? And you're like, me? Like, I can't do that. Like, it was always whispering, right? And so when I came back, and it took a while for me to get back to my feet. And I just took every online course possible. I my full-time job, and and then eventually we, it just got bigger and bigger, and I converted my downstairs basement here into a open studio, and I started teaching people how to paint canvas, like number one gesso. It was sort of like paint by number. and it was really, really exciting. And then I took a class which changed my life by Leslie Marsh.
We'll make sure to link to Leslie below this interview.
Oh, perfect. So, and I've also contacted Leslie, and I have told her,
good,
and thanked her for following her heart in the world. And this is what I'm doing with what I've learned from her. And she was very touched. I love her. So I learned how to make, it's called Wear Your Necklace. It's 1.25 inches by 1 inch.
And now tell me what it's made of.
So it's made out of, I found vintage jewelry. I like thrift shopping, and I take vintage jewelry apart, and then I redesign the front. And it's actually, I use copper, and it's solder on top.
Oh, it's soldered.
So it's soldered, and then the jewelry, you just design the front and the back. So yes, it is solder.
Yeah.
She teaches you how to do that. And then what I decided, because it said, wear your story. And, it was just about making the necklace. So we didn't see what everybody else had done with their necklaces. But I literally turned it into my life story. I'm just trying to open it open.
That's okay. So it's a little book that you wear around your neck.
Yeah. And
but during the class, you didn't put any words in the book. It was just their blank pages.
Yeah. And so then I literally made my whole life is in here. Like, it's me as a baby.
Oh my goodness.
I do laugh because I'm at a gas stove that's open, and a boiling kettle with a strap on my high chair.
That's pretty funny.
They are nowadays. They're so careful with their kids.
Yeah.
Growing up, my family.
Oh my gosh.
And there's my cancer mask. I had to wear that during treatment.
Yeah. Wow.
It was huge, Ali. And they literally put it on you, and then they clamp you down on a metal bed.
Oh gosh.
You can't move even. And I was claustrophobic. It was really tough. Yeah, and my mom and my kids. And then at the very end, I actually have my birth certificate. I have a guitar pick from my mother.
Oh my gosh.
And I also have my wedding picture.
Wow.
And this is my little baby announcement when I was born.
Good grief. So remind me of the size.
It's 1 1/4 by 1 inch.
Wow. So you shrunk these down so they fit inside that book. So that's the story of your life inside that book.
I used to do dollhouse miniatures, so I think that really helped in getting all of this.
Yeah.
Getting all of this done. And
so where did you go next with your necklaces?
Well, okay. Well, I'm going to I will put that on hold, and that this part will make sense.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So after I recovered and I became an artist, I started teaching art. That I had a fairly good couple of years. And then after that, my mother passed away, and that was really hard. But then I also lost my dad to suicide.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. And so that was really tough. And then some other stuff happened. My only sibling He's 363 days older than me. When my dad was suicidal, he got my parents' will and he ripped it up, and him and his wife typed out a new will and leaving everything to them. I was the spare, like Harry, like if they died first, then I would get everything. But if, anyway, my brother's a millionaire.
Well, that's nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 6 months later, my son passed away suddenly.
Good grief, Sandee.
That all happened within like 3 years. Yeah.
That is so much loss.
So much loss. Yes. And it was sudden with my son. It was an accident. It was just, my dad died, and 6 months later, my son died. And so, yeah, that was the dark night of the soul. Yeah, that's what I said.
How do you move forward from that?
Well, that was like you said, I went to my chiropractor, and every time I went, I like, how are you? Oh,
yeah, really don't ask.
Oh, not good. My dad committed suicide. Oh, not good. My son died. Like, they're just like, oh, she says, if I were you, my chiropractor, she said, I would be in the closet curled up in a ball and I would never come out.
But what did you do instead?
Well, I sought out support, number one, from another lady who had lost a child, which was very helpful for me.
Yeah.
And also my family doctor, which kept saying, I'm going to get you back in the art room, right?
Yeah.
And it's just going through the dark night of the soul. And seriously, what did get me out of it was, number one, my granddaughter was born.
Yep.
Not long, about a year and a half after my son passed away. And so love won, right?
Oh,
that's what I say. Like, we just fell in love with her.
What's her name?
Born Avonlea Autumn.
Oh, what a lovely name. Avonlea Autumn.
Yes. And so it just, my heart filled up with so much love. Like, Allie, I can't even describe it,
Wow. Yeah.
And I also got to see, like, both my daughters get married, and now they're having children. Now I have 4 grandchildren.
Nice.
And also art. My healing journey was through my art and doing art journaling and making things. And what really, 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 really healed me, I mean, that was all great stuff, but was taking something that was very tragic in my life, losing my son. My son's name is Benjamin. He's 29.
Yeah.
29. And I just think that when you can take something tragic and transform it into something beautiful, and loving for other people, if you can, that's the hero's journey. That is the dark night of the soul, where you go through and, I can take this and I can do something beautiful for other people.
Yeah.
So I started making these necklaces, like I said to you.
Yeah.
And I was, we have this big fair in Prince George, Studio 2880, and it's very large, and you have to be juried or invited to get in. Yeah. And so they invited me, which was really nice. And I did have a show on these necklaces.
Yeah.
And so I did get a lot of, and this is where I got the idea, I did get a lot of people who wanted me to make them a necklace of, say, in memory of their mother, or, in memory of someone very dear to them, or even like for a mother that for all of her life, for a very, very special occasion. And I did miniaturize all the pictures. I did all of that inside their necklaces too as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, because of all the meticulous work, I was sold out for a year and a half.
Wow. Oh my goodness. A year and a half.
And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that ever again. But don't ever, whenever I say I'm never doing that again, everyone just don't say that, Sandee. I did get the idea to make these pro bono. So I only make them pro bono now for another mother who has lost a child. So if I know of a mother, and I don't even know these people, they're like on my Facebook group, say, like they're just Facebook friends from art classes I've taken.
Yeah.
One lady lived in Texas. I've never met her. One lady lived in Australia.
Yeah.
One lady in Portland. They're all artists.
Yeah.
And I knew that they had all lost
Children.
and especially the same year that my son had passed away too, 2015.
Yeah.
So I made all of these, and they didn't even know. Like, honestly, they didn't.
Oh, it's a surprise.
Yes. And I made them all, and then I mailed them all out at once, Allie. I thought
you did it all at once.
Yes, I did. I did 5. They're on my YouTube channel. Like, if people wanna.
Yes, we'll definitely link to that. Yeah, for sure.
And I just did a flip through of all the ones that I made, right?
Yeah.
And so, yes. And when I mailed them, I'm serious. I've never felt so much joy in my whole life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was incredible feeling. And then I knew that they didn't know. And then it was coming, right?
Yeah.
Their addresses or whatever. And
how did you know what to put inside? How did you find
well, there's Facebook things. Right?
Facebook, yeah.
And then once I did send them the necklace, then I asked them to send me photos and stuff, and I miniaturized them all, and I
gotcha.
them. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So
and then they got to be really personal for the people.
Yeah.
Like one of the ladies wanted her last text message with her daughter in her book, and I wouldn't have had access to that.
Yeah.
Right? So there was a lot of things that,
Good grief. It puts the words a meaningful gift kind of on another plane. Like, that's amazing.
And that, you know what, that's what heals, is when you can love, give back and do something kind for someone. And so on the anniversary of my son's death, which is on his birthday, actually, on March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day, I put the same thing up for the last 7 years. You guys don't know what I'm going to say. And I always, always say, in my son's memory, please do a random act of kindness today.
Oh, nice.
And everyone says they do, right? And then it ripples. Yeah. Just a little. You could buy someone coffee in the line. Or, you could just do.
There's so many things that you can do.
There's so many ways we can be kind and help others when they're going through a rough time, right?
And also, you don't know what people are going through half the time. You know what I mean? Like, you see strangers on the street or in line somewhere, and you don't know their story. And if you do something kind for them, who knows what impact that would have for them that day. So.
And it happens to me, Allie. I'm that type of person where everybody tells me what they're going through in life.
That's too funny.
I tell my husband, "Whoa, I met this stranger," and he goes, "Why does that always happen to you?"
Because you're open and loving, and you give off that energy. That's why.
Pure strangers, neighbors, everything. Wow. Okay, I have a lot of secrets in my heart.
So, are you still doing these books for parents who've lost children?
I have slowed down, but I do have. They're in the queue, and I'm definitely going to be doing them. But right now, I've been really focusing on writing my book.
Oh, so tell us a little bit about your book.
Yes. So since I've gone through, and there's more things that I didn't even say. So good on you for not having to cry. That's awesome.
Well, only because I've heard some of it before, so I'm prepared.
Exactly. But so since this is the thing, Allie, this is what I keep telling you. Like, remember there's that whisper, that creative whisper to your soul. It's like, do this. And you're like, no, I can't. Or do this. And it doesn't. And when you know that it's something you really have to do, it doesn't go away.
Okay.
It keeps telling you.
Yeah.
You can ignore. I think I've been told for, 8 years to write a book.
Yeah.
Write a book.
So you're listening.
No, I can't write. I'm not going to write a book. But I also know, if I was on my my cancer bed again or tomorrow, whatever, that would be my one regret.
That would be your regret. Okay. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about it.
So my book is called Altered Forever. Here's the cover.
Altered Forever. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I made it.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be all of the pivotal moments in my life that one day you're one person and then something happens and then you're another person. Mm-hmm. Right? You're never the same. You're altered forever.
Yeah.
So, and that could be in good ways, and it could be also, bad things that have happened to you as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, to kind of counter the, all of the things that I briefly told you, I'm going to be telling a lot of, I call it glitch in the matrix stories, which is things that happened to me that during, especially since that all the cancer and those years, I had things that happened to me that cannot logically be explained.
Okay. Can you give us a tiny example?
I can, and I have it right here. I was hoping you were going to ask me that.
Oh, okay. We didn't plan this, by the way.
No, we didn't plan this. But so, for example, I told you about how I got that information to go to this different hospital, right? Mm-hmm. So that was like one of them. But then it just, you
got lots.
Yeah, they're mind-blowing. They're absolutely mind-blowing. But in my book, I start my book out. So remember, just before I found the lump in my throat, I just finished my last contract that I was working for in life coaching. Got my life coaching, and I just finished my last contract. I said, that's it. And then I was 50. And I'm like, that's it. I wonder what's gonna happen. I was just so excited. Yeah. And so me and my girlfriend went down to the river. We have a beautiful river here with cottonwood trees. We went down there and we were met for a walk, right? And then we were walking along and my friend said, what's up there? And I looked and there was something up there in the tree. Like, this is a forest, right? So there's something up in the tree. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what that is. I don't know. And so we tromped through the bush and there was like this alcove where the tree, because it's an old cotton tree. Okay. And it was, it's quite high too. And there was something perched in the tree. Yeah. So I have it here for you.
Oh my gosh. What is this? What is she going to show us?
Yes, Allie, it was in the tree, in the forest. Yes, a ceramic angel in a tree in the forest. Well, what's really cool is, where did I put that? I'm just going to look real quick, Callie. Just a sec. Give me a sec. Glad I grabbed it. On this angel's hand, perched in the tree, was a little plastic bag. And in the plastic bag was a little note. Okay? So let me read this to you. So there's my girlfriend and I. She's got a note. It was taped to her hand, right? So here's the note. I know. Today, July 25th, 2011, is the worldwide blessing of the waters. We send prayers of thanks and love to the rivers, lakes, oceans, and streams to honor Mother Earth. I left this angel in honor. I've had her many years, and I am moving far away and cannot take her. As you can see, she is not perfect. When her hand broke off, I could not throw her away. She reminds me that even though sometimes a little broken, we still have great beauty. You may leave her here or take her with you. Let your heart guide you. Her name is Ironin. It means blessed one. May she bring you joy. So I'm like, my heart's guiding me to take her because she said, your heart guide you? Oh yeah, I want this angel. And so and I said, this is a sign. This is a good sign. It's something great's coming down the pike. I was so excited. I thought this is a great sign. And so my girlfriend said, well, she's too heavy to carry. And because we just started off on our track, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. And she said, and I write about this in a book, we placed her back up, but the whole walk, I'm just like, oh, I hope nobody took my angel. Oh, I'll be pissed. I'll be so mad. She better be there. And then on our way back, we couldn't find her. We lost her. And I was really upset and I really wanted her. But anyway, we did find her. And so when I come home, because a lot of these weird spiritual experiences happen to me all the time. And my family is just still, trying to get used to it. So I come home from the river, holding her in my arms and bouncing up the stairs. All my family's up there and go, guess what I found in a tree? my daughter, who's a teenager, the way they can roll their eyes. Oh, you, Mom, only you. And so I thought about like this. It almost makes me cry when I read about, even though she's broken, it just reminds me that she still has great beauty. Right. And then that's what I write in my book. I thought it was this great sign, but it actually was an omen of things to come with her broken hand.
Yeah.
And then it goes on with, the cancer and all the stuff that I went through. Right. But in between all of those things, there's some really amazing stories that happened to me in the hospital.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to read it. So
yeah, it's crazy.
So you've almost finished it. So you've done the cover already, which I think is kind of interesting. So did the cover come first, or is that a piece of artwork you've had for a long time?
Do you know what's funny? I took a class on how to publish your book, and a lot of people hire out all these things that I'm doing myself. I think that's why it's
really
a little, because I'm an artist. I wanted to make my own cover, right? Yeah. And it's very meaningful to me. And also, I do have an editor now, which is awesome.
Nice.
And I fully expect it to be done by December, the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And what's really cool about this book, Allie, is that it's going to be done in an art journal.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is it okay? So explain that to us a little bit.
So when you have a book, just a regular book, it's just all writing.
Yeah.
This will be, when people do art journaling pages in their art journal.
It's going to be like that.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. So will it be typed text or handwritten text? Will the text go over images?
Well, there's this app you can get, which is super cool. Is actually I could put my writing into a font.
Oh, gotcha. Yes.
Yeah,
it looks like your handwriting. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be I think I'll print it because I'll do my printing because we're teaching writing in school anymore. So yeah, I won't be in writing, but it will be my own hand printed, like my own.
With your artwork.
Yes, and because I think sometimes I don't have to get into the nitty gritties. A piece of art will just be like, whoa! When they read the story, they're just going to totally get it. Right?
Okay, gotcha.
You just have to see the photo. Yeah. For example, even my, I don't know if even my, right? It's so profound, and I think I can express myself and it be more universal to people. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of only 50% will be writing, and the other will be in art journal form. And I do have this really cool idea about this. I got this sign that was like shh, and so I will tell a truth tell in every, and it'll be pretty shocking.
Good grief. So all right. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna look forward to seeing this, and it's so interesting that you are writing your story in this format that you originally were drawn to, but for a long time felt like, oh, I can't do that. I'm not, this is you showed your mom, and she was like, oh, I don't really think that you're an artist. But so I like that it's kind of come full circle, and that this is this is another gift that you're going to be giving to the world, in addition to the many other gifts that you have given.
No, thank you.
You're very welcome. And oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you for being a member of our community, and for just sharing your story with us today. That's pretty powerful.
Thank you for having me, and and doing this for me. It's been a great gift for me, Ali. So thank you so much. That's all I want, is to inspire as many people as I can while I'm here on Earth School. That's all. It's not
no
about
regrets.
Yeah, that's all it's about.
Yeah, it is. Oh, well, thank you, Sandee, and we will keep us posted about the publisher that you use, and when we can buy this book. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I'm working really hard, and I know I will be done by that date. So and then get it out into the world.
Great. Hopefully. It's gonna be a gift. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.